I'm Luke Beard.
I'm Chris Green.
I'm Riley Gunter.
And I'm Nash Rainey.
And we are the Backups. All right, let's kick into the Clemson spring game. What do y'all expect to see in the game?
You go first, Nash.
Okay, I just want to get a first look at this new offense that Gary Riley's brought in. Yeah, I've heard there's been a lot of talk about how players are feeling about it. There's a lot of high praise for it coming on early in, and I'm just excited to see how the offense performs.
I'm excited to see the offense, but obviously we're not going to see it to its full potential being the spring game, and of course, we're always a championship caliber team, so we're not going to release our plays and stuff so other teams' defenses can study it, but I'm excited to see how the new offense works.
Yeah, same here. But the main thing I'm really excited to see is the quarterback play from Cade and of course our recruits mainly.
You got it.
Okay,
Yeah, you got it.
All right. Cade, I'm really excited to see how he's kind of fit himself into the new offense with Garrett Riley. Kind of an air raid that mixes the run game into it. I really love the way Garrett Riley, his offense performs. Obviously at TCU they did very well, and I think Clemson has better athletes on the team that can make this work, probably bring Clemson to another playoff appearance, possibly a national title. I'm really excited to see what Peter Woods, because I've heard nothing but good things about Peter Woods. All of these veteran linemen are saying that he's way better than we were when we came in, and if that's true that he's better than Brian Breezy, Xavier Thomas, and Miles Murphy, then Peter Woods is going to be a phenomenal player. He'll be an early draft pick if this is all true, of course.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I think that's another important thing to talk about for the spring game. It's how will these new recruits, come into the system and play well. And Peter Woods, especially being our top defensive recruit, I'm really excited to see him play. I think it'll be really fun to see him how he does over the next few years.
I think it'll be also interesting to see Christopher Vizina throw the ball a little bit, because obviously we want to know that we have a good backup quarterback, and I believe that we do going into this year. Just want to see how he is.
As we've needed backup quarterbacks in the last 5-6 years with, guys like Kelly Bryant, Trevor Lawrence coming in for him, and now we had, DJ, Cade coming in for him. I don't think Cade will need the backup. I hope he does not, but I do think Vizina is going to be a very good backup quarterback. I think he'll be a very good starter when he gets the opportunity.
Yes, he will be.
I'm obviously, I'm really hopeful of how Cade will play this coming season, but it's always just great to see that, we have newer talent always waiting in the wings if we really need it. Vizina, I'm a little worried about. He's got a lot of Z's in his last name, but I think he can overcome that, and I'm looking forward to see how the whole offense plays the spring game.
I'm also looking forward to the secondary. Obviously, one of my favorite players going in is Nate No-Fly Zone Wiggins. I'm very excited for his upcoming season.
Yeah, he definitely improved throughout the end of last season. I feel like a lot of guys on the team started to improve towards the end of last season. Obviously, Carolina was an off game for a couple players.
After that Wake Forest game, I think the entire secondary realized, hey, we need to step it up.
Yeah, and I believe they did step it up very well. We had some costly turnovers in that Carolina game that kind of screwed us up there. Yeah. However, I think our defense did play very well in that game. They put a touchdown on the board early. And Wiggins, I'm a huge fan of his game now, especially. He's gotten very good. Yes. He's able to cover now, which towards the beginning of the season he wasn't great at coverage, but now he's fantastic at it seems. And the whole defense, I'm really excited to see how they turn out, losing guys like Breezy and Murphy to the draft, just to see, how it's brought together.
Yeah.
Of course.
From what it sounds, I think we'll still have one of those top defenses in the country again, which is always good to have for your football team.
Moving to the NCAA tournament, we saw UConn defeat Miami to go to the championship, as well as San Diego State defeat FAU. UConn obviously ended up prevailing in that game, 76-59. It wasn't close at all. The entire game, it wasn't close. UConn had one of the most dominant tournament runs I've ever seen. They won by an average of 20 or something. It's their 5th title under their third coach, 20-25 years. Yeah. They've kind of cemented themselves as a powerhouse in college basketball in the past 25 years.
Yeah, and I think it's a UConn winning, not entirely unexpected, but it's a little disappointing. 3 out of the 4 Final Four teams were coming in as their first Final Four ever, and you have 9th seed FAU and 5th seed San Diego State from the Mountain West, which is, basically a lower version of the Pac-12, and we know how some people feel about that. So, seeing, obviously, they were highly touted coming in, and they performed to expectations. They played really well, and, there was before the tournament even started, they were talking about how it was their best regular season since they won it in 2014, and it's you really couldn't ask for more from this UConn team. They did everything perfectly.
Yeah, they looked overpowering really to other teams. I think they had 3 players on the like the all tournament team. I think like their entire front court was on the all tournament team or something, like their starting front court, which was surprising to me. And I know one of their players won the like most outstanding player in the tournament as well. But they looked fantastic. I mean, they really did look unstoppable throughout their entire run.
I mean, UConn was one of those 7 teams that was top 20 in offense and top 20 in defense. So it's a surprise, but then also not a surprise they won because it fits history perfectly. So.
Yeah, it was like one of those 2000 Spurs runs where it's like the farther the tournament went on, it was like they kind of played boring, but you just knew they were good enough to just win the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You just had to accept it.
Yeah.
It's. I think the only reason why this wasn't as expected is just because they came in as a 4 seed. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think if they were like a 2 or a 1 seed, there wouldn't be as much of a reaction because it's just them playing really well.
Yeah.
I think them being underseeded kind of played into the entire narrative there.
Yeah. And it looked like it was clear that they were underseeded too, just the way they've played throughout the tournament.
I believe they're like the second 4 seed to ever go on and win the tournament.
I believe so, yeah. 1997 Arizona was the other one. So it was just shocking that, wasn't shocking that they won, but it was like shocking their seed placement to perform how they did.
Yeah, it was a great run from them. And then switching gears to the women's tournament, LSU just completely destroyed Iowa in the championship game, 102-85. I mean, what do we think about that?
First off, caps off to Iowa. I mean, they had a fantastic run. They beat Carolina, who beat LSU by like 20 earlier in the season. So clearly that helped LSU out a lot to not have to face that Carolina team. They play a very similar game to me. They're kind of like a tough teams playing the paint, and Iowa's more of a shooting and all-around kind of team.
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, when you look at this game, especially with the scoreline 102-85, this LSU team just put their foot on the gas and didn't let up. They were playing absolutely phenomenally, and it never seemed close.
No, Caitlin Clark still to me is the best player in college basketball as a whole. One of the best players in collegiate sports as a whole. She put up 2 41-point games back-to-back, and then a 30-point game in the national title game, which is such an insane scoring streak. And I think she won, or I think she broke the record for most points in a tournament ever for, I think it was both men's and women's, if I'm not mistaken.
And most threes as well, I believe. Most threes.
It might have been her. I'm not positive about that, but yeah, I think that sounds right. And then, I mean, Angel Reese, also a fantastic player. I believe she's only a sophomore, too.
Yeah.
And she's just out of this world. There's a lot of controversy that she did the same gesture that Caitlin Clark did, and she's a bad guy for it. That's ridiculous. Angel Reese won a title, does a gesture that the player she's playing against already did to Louisville, and all of a sudden she's the bad guy for it. That's just dumb.
And then even today, Caitlin Clark was interviewed, and she's like, I don't see a problem with
No.
it. That's just basketball.
It's trash talking. There's trash talking in every single sport. I used to trash talk people, and I'd be down by 20 in games, and I would still trash talk. Because that's what you do. You have fun and you trash talk.
It's kind of impressive, down 20 and still trash talk.
Yeah, no, it was definitely
Maybe
not.
someone should have been working harder.
Yeah, no, clearly it wasn't getting anyone's head.
It also seemed a little. It's just you didn't hear any of this from the players themselves. It was people outside the game itself on Twitter and stuff complaining about it, calling it classless. When it was, I think it was pretty mild trash talk. I mean, beating someone in a very hyped up opponent in a national championship game. You know, if it was me, I would be jumping up and down and laughing and pointing in their friends and family's faces.
That's just because you're a terrible person.
Yeah, but I think this was simply just competition. It was the right amount of trash talk, and it was really overblown. And I think it's really tough because it overshadows the accomplishment of the LSU team.
Yeah.
Because people aren't talking about all the other plays; they're only talking about this, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, sorry about that. But also, just Jill Biden inviting Iowa to the White House.
I was about to say the same thing.
Since when does the loser get to go to the White House? with the winner and celebrate together. When have we ever done
Yeah,
it?
the Bills never got to go to the White House, and they lost 4 straight Super Bowls. It's like none of these losing teams, you didn't win. Why would you go meet the president if you're a loser? You know, that's
Just showing
America's
how you
not
done
made
it.
about losers or winners.
I will say on a more positive side for both teams, the ratings for the championship game outbeat 2 New Year's Six bowls, which is absolutely insane because a lot of people watch New Year's Six, and it's really a good step for women's collegiate
I think they had
basketball.
9.9 million viewers, which is
Very
And I
insane.
think both LSU
really-
and
I
especially
really enjoyed it.
Caitlin Clark has especially helped that because I will say,
Yeah.
even from my perspective, seeing someone put up 41 points in a game, you're going to want to watch them play.
Yeah, you want to see why everyone's talking about her.
Yeah.
But same with Angel Reese and the LSU team. They had a lot of really good players on that team. So it was just impressive to see them all around. NBA playoffs coming up. It's looking like things are kind of getting set in stone here where everyone's going to be. The Mavericks, who are a game out of the play-in, are reportedly thinking about shutting down both Luka and Kyrie so they could get a better draft pick. I don't know what y'all think about that.
I think it's just a testament to how badly that trade has hurt this team. I mean, this is a team that was in the middle of the playoff race a few months ago that was looking really strong, and then this trade happens, and they're basically on a complete downturn. I wouldn't, obviously being a Hornets fan, the Hornets beating them a few times, obviously I could tell the Mavericks were a little rattled by that, and I think that's only cascaded. But in outside of the jokes, this has just been a terrible collapse.
I believe before the trade, the Mavericks had a 96% chance to make the playoffs, and now it looks like they might not even make it into the play-in.
They're 3-7 in their last 10. I'm looking at it right now. They are 3-7 in their last 10. The Jazz also 3-7 in their last 10, who I thought had a shot at making it early into the season. They looked really good. And both of those teams have just kind of had a down spiral. The Lakers have started playing well. They're now 7th seed, and they might fight their way into the 6th seed here. With the Warriors also kind of falling down, as well as the Clippers. Both Clippers and Warriors 5-5 in their last games, or their last 10. So it's kind of a fight for that, just like 6 through 10 seed, really. I mean, they're all very close to each other. I'm not sure where it's going to completely end up, but I think a lot of these teams want that 6th seed, in the West especially, because they want to play the Kings. This is a young Kings team, an inexperienced Kings team that a lot of these teams would like to have as kind of like a pick-me-up series, a boost series for them. Like the Warriors would love to play this Kings team because they match up well to this Kings team.
Right.
And they're coming off a championship. They're playing terrible on the road right now. If they can go into the playoffs, get a win over Sacramento, being a lower seed, that's going to boost their momentum, and that's going to motivate them to keep pushing forward. So, I mean, that's a huge fight right there for that 6 through 10 area. Whoever gets that 6th seed.
Personally, I love seeing the Kings in the playoffs. So
I hope the Kings do beat
I hope they
whoever
do it
makes
well
it.
because
but-
it's been for so long. I've not heard of
Yeah.
anything from that team, and it's just the beam. The beam has definitely.
Yeah, I think the beam has carried them, really. Entirety.
There's got to be some magic in that beam.
I think this is a rare case of correlation equals causation. The first season they add in a giant purple beam, the team starts winning games, and I would like to see other teams implement that strategy. But it's going back to how that 6th seed. I think it really just shows how impactful the play-in has been since it's been recently introduced. I mean, this is usually previous seasons past, you don't really have this kind of conversation where
You're fighting for the 8th seed, really, at that point. You're fighting to not fall out.
Yeah,
but now people are
exactly.
fighting for a 6th seed specifically, just because of the West. It's the Kings. You want to play an inexperienced team.
Yeah.
However, I do think the Kings do have a lot of firepower, and I think they're going to be a hard team to beat in the playoffs, no matter how inexperienced they are.
Yeah. No, I think this is going to be. I'm just excited for the playoffs in general, but I would definitely want to see, especially since that's a Kings team that doesn't really have much playoff experience. I think it'll be exciting to see who they play and how they play them.
Just to touch up on the beam thing, more teams implementing it. One team I would really like to see implement the beam is the Clemson Tigers men's team and women's team. Maybe we could bring a national championship
Maybe
to
some
Little
more
John
recruits.
into Clemson. I think we should implement a beam.
I would love to see a giant.
Yeah, I would love to wake
Brad
up.
Brownell on the beam.
Love to wake up, look out my window, and just see a giant beacon of light over Little John Coliseum. That would be
Who says no?
fantastic.
Says no. Yeah, it would definitely be great to see an orange beam or maybe a purple beam coming straight from Little Death Valley 2, but
Yeah.
I don't know how likely that is to actually happen.
Nah. So who are y'all's favorite play-in teams right now? Like the teams that you think will cause maybe a stir in the whole playoff series?
Personally, I know it's the general answer, but that team in Hollywood, I mean, I just feel like LeBron, Anthony Davis, and that supporting cast is just as dangerous as any team in the West right now.
Mm-hmm. Another team I'm surprised to see are the Oklahoma City Thunder, who very young team.
Very young team, but
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has really played up to his potential. Clearly, that trade had kind of worked for the Clippers more than I expected it to.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic. Another team I really like seeing here is the Pelicans. I think the Pelicans are a really strong team. I think it depends what happens with Zion, because I know they don't know when he'll be back. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. If Zion comes back, this is a team you do not want to see in the playoffs.
yeah.
This is a efficient team that can score the ball well and can get back on defense. Jose Alvarado has become one of the best defensive guards in the league. And then you have guys like, you have Zion, you have Brandon Ingram, who are just both insane talents. I mean, Brandon Ingram is a younger Kevin Durant, as he has been for a very long time now. I don't think he'll ever reach that level that Kevin Durant's at, but he's an all-star level player.
And you also got people like Trey Murphy, Herb Jones.
Herb Jones also a fantastic defender, I mentioned, yeah. It's a strong team.
At least for me, although they aren't in the play-in yet, I really like the Warriors. I'm saying that as a Warriors fan. I think they're going to step up, hopefully win another ring this year. Jordan Poole just needs to play like prime Steph Curry like he always does when he needs, well, not always. There's a circle of how well he plays.
You know when he plays that way.
Yeah.
And then in the East, I think Miami, it's interesting to see they have become a play-in team now, a team that's normally a top-tier team in the East. I mean, teams like the Knicks above them, the Cavaliers and the Nets who no longer have their star players, but have still been playing pretty well. Yeah. I mean, they've maintained a spot in the playoffs so far. And then the Knicks, who kind of had an off year last year, and they came back. Julius Randle's now playing he's playing at a high level again, like he was earlier. Well, not earlier in his career, but a couple years ago, he played very high level, kind of fell off last year, came back, still at a high level. And then the Cavs, they have completely turned their team around in a very quick manner. You have Evan Mobley on the team, great power forward.
Jared Allen.
Yeah, Jared Allen, who that was a steal for them from the Nets. Yeah. And then
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell, who's probably top 3 shooting guard in the league, possibly top 2, maybe number 1. And then Darius Garland, who's also fantastic. That whole team is just very well set up. They're being coached well. Everything has gone well for that team, and they're still very young as well. That's a very good team.
Yeah. There's a lot of good teams in these lower seedings. I'll be excited to see. Unfortunately speaking, the Atlanta Hawks have been playing well as of late, and Quinn Snyder has done a lot for that team, which I'm not a big fan of that, but I think this could definitely be one of those teams that kind of catches some of these upper teams by surprise and could do something. I don't see much in terms of success in the playoffs, but
I saw an interesting statistic about that team that was like they've been within a game of 500 in the past 75 days. They're 39 and 39. They're at 500, 5-5 in their last 10. They're the definition of
being consistent.
Yeah, consistently mediocre.
Yeah. They really, if anything, the Atlanta Hawks are, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. Like last year's Hornets, for example.
Yeah. Who are now just nowhere near the playoff picture.
Not even
I think
close.
they've already been eliminated from it a while ago.
Yeah, a while ago.
But,
keep buzzing.
Off years. Yeah. LaMelo was hurt. They're in talks there's rumors about them trading the team.
Yeah, and it's just, it's the Hornets, so. But shifting gears to probably one of the most exciting sporting events I've ever laid my eyes on, WrestleMania this past weekend. I mean, my first WrestleMania, and I really couldn't be more happy. There was so much going on. I mean, first and foremost, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes in the title match. I don't know what to respond.
It was such a great match.
Until
the end, where it just felt like they chose the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Solo Sikoa got ejected earlier and he came back. It was another thing where, the referees in WWE they try to make them look so dumb.
Yeah.
They fall and they're out for 10 minutes, and then they get back up, and Paul Heyman distracts you like he has in the last 15 Roman Reigns title defenses that we've seen. It's ridiculous Roman keeps winning these ways. Someone always runs in. He hasn't won a match by himself in I don't know how long.
I don't think
It's just ridiculous how he still has the title, man.
It was, yeah. I think that captures it perfectly. It was a very exciting match, but it was just who
Not
won
the
that.
Wrong outcome.
Yeah.
Because with Solo getting ejected, and then the Usos running in, and then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn running in to respond to that, it was so great. And then there was in the middle of the fight, Roman Reigns had Cody Rhodes in a guillotine, and he slowly breaks out of it. He shows a lot of grit, as I call it, and it was a really great match. And then they kind of sucker punch you.
Yeah, with
Roman Reigns
with the
wins.
faulty referee finish, as they always do with his matches. I expected it, but I was not excited about it.
Going in, I thought Cody Rhodes was going to win. It was also my first WrestleMania. Luke was he's helping me hype up for WrestleMania. He was saying about Cody Rhodes' theme song. It was a part where he says "whoa," and he's like, "It's going to be the loudest whoa."
It was
And
loud.
it was very loud.
It felt like last night his momentum was off on Raw. It kind of felt like the crowd was a little quieter for him. They're starting to no longer be invested in his story. It's because that was the right time for them to pull the trigger, have Cody win, and they didn't do it. Now it's kind of all falling apart for him.
Yeah, no.
Let's move on from that match. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I was so upset last night or Sunday night. So it felt like night one looked like it was going to be one of the better WrestleManias of all time.
Yeah.
And then night two came around. All had very good matches. They were just kind of, the wrong outcome. I started my day off well. I was like, last night was great. Went to Riley's room, watched a horror movie, I believe it was called Creep or something. I was like, I'm in the mood to watch some wrestling now. We watched it. First match, I was like, it's fine. Brock Lesnar, Omos, it's what I thought it was going to be. Two big dudes just smacking each other. Brock winning, expected.
Yeah.
And then the women's tag match, it was
snooze fest.
it was all right. It was okay.
No, it's not.
But I think that was a lot changed because I think Shayna Baszler got injured during it. I saw her boot go off, and she was on one foot at the end of the match, and then Ronda Rousey came in for 2 seconds, and
Ronda Rousey at the end said, "Oh, I didn't even break a sweat." Well, she in fact did not break a single sweat because I think I only saw her on the screen for maybe 5 seconds.
Yeah, they were off the screen for a little bit. But back to night one, what a fantastic show that was.
God.
I mean, Charlotte and Rhea Ripley put on one of the greatest WrestleMania matches I've ever seen. It was back and forth, the right winner. It felt like Rhea Ripley, it's her time. I was very excited about that. I don't know how y'all felt about
I
that.
felt like that was not match of the night for night one. Personally, it was a great match. Right person won. Great move selling from Charlotte. And
Storytelling looked good in the
it was
ring.
great.
Bianca Asuka, it was another great match.
Yeah.
Asuka should have won that match.
Yeah.
But there's no reason Asuka should be 0-5 at WrestleMania. She's one of your top talents in the women's division, and she's not winning matches on the biggest stage that she can.
And she's 41 years old. She doesn't have much time.
No, you have to. It's either give her the title now or don't.
Yeah.
Now or never.
I saw her. I think it was on Twitter. She mentioned she might go back to Japan. She was talking about stuff, but she said she felt like she wants to cause chaos in the WWE women's division.
Right.
But she should have won that match. There's no reason she should have lost.
Yeah, no, Asuka, that was definitely a match that pretty much should have had a different winner, but that it is how it is, and it's unfortunate when you see some talents like this that aren't managed the best because it's just not their fault. It's just the function of how the WWE's ran, and sometimes that gets in the way of what could be much better matches.
Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I thought it was a great match. Very enjoyable. I loved watching it. Right outcome again. Sami Zayn. He pinned Jay, right?
Yes.
Okay. As he should have.
Yeah.
Jay was the one, who turned on Sami, kind of after Sami turned on him. And it felt like the culmination of that story was very well done. And until the next night where, Cody Rhodes lost. But anyway.
But specifically the Usos and the whole bloodline betrayal and Sami Zayn, that's where you really wanted the story to go, and I think they delivered well on that.
And then we talked about Lesnar versus Omos. They just they beat each other up. Omos actually looked like he had it for a little bit there. He was destroying him, and then Lesnar hit him with an F5. It was over. Seth Rollins, Logan Paul. That was, to me, possibly match of the night. That match was so fun.
That was my favorite of both.
I loved that match. Everything was just two great athletes went at it. Seth Rollins won, which is the correct outcome. He needed that win. KSI showing up in a giant Prime bottle was hysterical. Then getting pulled down onto a table and frog splash by his business partner, a man who he owns a huge business now. It's just hysterical to see how these social media stars who become kind of, I'm not going to say business moguls, but, relatively well known in the business field are now in WWE.
Yeah.
It's just, their lives are crazy.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about it when Logan Paul was coming into the ring with a Prime bottle next to him. We were all saying, like, imagine if that's KSI, because obviously that's not going to happen. We checked his Twitter, and KSI hadn't tweeted anything about it. And then I think it was middle of the match, his like little face covering pops off, and we're all like, it's KSI, and then Logan Paul leaps on him, and he goes through a table, and it's just like it's just good fun.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah, and then John Cena, Austin Theory. Match felt short. It was a fine match, but starting to feel like we'll never see another John Cena win.
Yeah, that's just disappointing from a John Cena fan. Like, I was really excited for this match, but the ending of it could have been better. Like, he got hit with one finisher and did not kick out. We have seen John Cena get hit with like 4 finishers and kick out all of them. So why is he just getting pinned 1, 2, 3 after one finisher?
Yep.
Like, he couldn't use resiliency.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It felt rough too, because I thought John Cena was going to win. His coming into the ring, he had all the Make-A-Wish kids come out, and
it seemed like a great moment.
A great heartfelt moment,
Yeah.
and then the
then he lost.
WWE decided to show all of the Make-A-Wish kids, their number one hero, losing on live television. In the match itself wasn't all that great.
It was just a little sad to see him lose like that. It was a little sad to see it happen like that. Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus versus Damage Control. It was a fine match. Damage Control should have won. They lost. It looks like they might be done. Bayley didn't show up on Raw with them. I just think that whole story's done. That's all I can say about that. Yeah.
Not much to say.
Yeah.
Edge Finn Balor is very good. Sadly, Finn Balor got his head cut open. He had to get, I think, he tweeted something earlier. It was either 14 or 16 staples in his head. It looked gruesome. It looked disgusting. I don't know how he finished the match. He did a cool coup de grace attempt off the cage, and then he lost to a
I forget the move, but it's when
two chairs kind of sandwiched on his head.
Yeah.
It was, concerto. That's what it is. It was a good match. So
just unfortunate that he got injured, because that was going to be a much better match than what it actually was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
killed all the momentum.
Yeah. And then Gunther, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre. To me, it was probably match of the weekend, as I thought it would be. Sheamus looked like he had it so many times, and then Gunther came in, hit 2 back-to-back power bombs. Just a fun match, hard-hitting match. 3 really good wrestlers doing really good wrestling.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Not much more you can do.
And then the men's tag showcase, Street Profits won. That was a fun match too. Everything, there was so much athleticism. Angelo Dawkins coming out of nowhere and just cleaning Braun Strowman, who's a huge man.
Yeah.
Just cleaned him. It was just a fun match.
Chad Gable, German suplex.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman.
It was a great match.
That was great.
And then the Mysterio match, also a very good match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought the outcome was correct. They brought the Latino World Order back for it, which I'm excited about. I'm a fan of the Latino World Order. They're a very short-lived group when they're in WCW, but a good group. And I thought they were all, pretty good. So
I'll say both of the intros for both Rey and Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, and the Snoop Dogg segments were fun too.
Yes, there was.
So everything was fun, but it was a pretty good match. And then just the intros were hilarious to me.
The intros.
Dominic coming out with the cops, it was like, why? And Bad Bunny getting involved in the match. Everything went well.
It was just great.
Yeah.
All right, let's kick it to overtime. Chris, what do you have?
UFC 287 this weekend, Adesanya versus Pereira. For the 4th time, I believe. I don't see Adesanya winning. It's just, certain fighters just have your number, and Pereira just has his number, and I just don't see him beating him.
I'm thinking it's going to Maybe another short ending.
It'll
It's not going to the
It'll start off with Adesanya winning like last time, and then he'll
every time
just get finished.
No, it'll end up not going though.
And then, last week I made some controversial comments regarding the Dominic and Rey Mysterio match, and I'd like to apologize for that to Mr. Rey Mysterio. I didn't know the full storyline, and I didn't know just how bad Dominic was, and I think Rey Mysterio should have won that match, and I was happy to see him. And seeing Dominic, you think he's sneaking out this chain, he's gonna hit his own father with it, and you're saying this can't be happening. This is cruel. Then Bad Bunny, Latino recording artist, superstar, #1 in the world, comes in and saves Rey Mysterio. It was the right moment. I loved it, and I would like to formally apologize to Rey Mysterio and his family, minus Dominic.
So my overtime is first lacrosse game. So actually, all 4 of us were involved. Me and Ash and Chris were in the stands. Luke was in the press box. Very interesting to see since I've never watched a lacrosse game. Me and Nash were trying to figure out the rules. Yeah, lacrosse is a very interesting sport.
It was a fun game. It was not very close.
Very good win.
It started off close, and then Clemson came out of the gate.
over.
They were firing.
Too easy.
Too easy.
Team was great. I have 2 quick ones I want to get into. The movie Air coming out. It looks fantastic. It's about Michael Jordan's story, how he was signed to Nike, and how they kind of took a shot on him, and it clearly worked out. Now Jordan's one of the biggest brands in the world. It's getting great reviews. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Chris Tucker is in it, Marlon Wayans. A ton of people are in it. It looks like it's going to be fantastic. I think Viola Davis plays Michael Jordan's mother in it. Everything looks good, though. I'm very excited for that movie. And now I want to talk quick about the WWE getting bought by Endeavor. So I think they're merging as one tradable company with the UFC, but I think it's good for WWE to finally have been bought by someone, because now that's not looming anymore. It's a $9 billion deal, which is insane for a wrestling company, and I hope it ends up, going well for WWE.
And now maybe we can see that Dana White versus Vince McMahon Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah. What a match that would be. I think that's all we have. Anything to add?
Nope.
Nope. All right, well, thank you for watching. We will see you next week, and peace.